Hey everyone, welcome on in to Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks, and we are WFH, working from home, wasted from home, pick your poison. We are all doing this from a home studio that I've got in my kitchen right now, and we know that you're watching this from home, and we know it's a very difficult time. People aren't really sure what the future is, what the present is, because we're all dealing with coronavirus in the world and how it's impacting our lives, but also, of course, athletes and entertainers. And we're going to be giving you interviews with all of the biggest names, and we want to still be able to have some sort of fun and normalcy within our lives as best we can during this difficult time. And for that, I'm very excited to welcome in Kendrick Perkins, former NBA player, 2008 NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, ESPN broadcaster, and host on Hoop Streams. He is doing everything media these days. Thank you, Kendrick, for taking some time to join us here on Drinks with Binks.
Julie, thanks for having me. Big fan of your show. I might want to hang up. We're going to start this over so you can give me that same intro. Listen, I will pull out my Ciroc, right? But right now, I know it's Drinks with Binks, but right now I'm on my H2O full of water because I'm on my diet during this quarantine time. And then you know, CNN saying you got to stay hydrated during this coronavirus, so you got to drink a lot of water. So right now I'm dieting. You know, I'm trying to get my body back together, get my health right.
I think that's a really important message, and I've got my H2O as well because, you know, Lord knows I need this mix in of water now and again. And let's cheers. Let's toast.
Cheers.
So we'll take a little sip. Cheers, KP.
Yeah.
And what do we got? What are we toasting to today? What's on your mind that needs a little bottoms up to?
Well, you know what? Let's just toast to all, because right now it's so hard because we can't watch sports, right? So we can't talk about sports, and at the end of the day, we're still making it happen. We're finding a way, because I know it's driving you crazy that you can't go to the studio and actually do it live from in the studio and how you accustomed to doing it. So we still finding a way to do it from home and still giving our audience a chance to listen and still, you know, finding hot topics to talk about. So to me, that's cheers, because I just want to show love to all the analysts, TV personalities, that we still doing our job right now.
Yeah, it's really shown a lot of creativity. Well, everyone has tried to figure out how can we still make the show happen? How can we still get content on the air? And, you know, we're all figuring it out one day at a time. And I want to go back, though. You mentioned the diet that you're on right now, and we got the water. And I think it's really good that you remind people, you know, we're at home, we're snacking on the Oreos, we're having some beers, but if we don't take care of ourselves at the end of this quarantine, it's not going to be good for anyone at this point. And I know that you tweeted about being on a diet because you tweeted that you'd gained 75 pounds since you finished playing.
Yeah.
What's process been like since you kind of figured that out and now the track that you're on?
Well, so what happened is that when, you know, I worked so hard all through the years, so I was labeled as a guy that had a whack body, meaning no matter how hard I work, I could never get chiseled. So in the NBA, you call that a whack body. Even when I was in shape, I never just had definition, right? So at the end of the day, all my life, I've been having to diet for basketball, make sure I stay in shape because I get easy. So I was like, you know what? F this. Soon as the season was over, soon as I retired, I was like, I'm living my best life. I'm in the pantry. I'm eating my kids' snack. I'm drinking sodas, Big Red, Big Blues, because I'm from Texas. So I was just cream sodas. I'm just living. And next thing you know, I put on 15 pounds. Then all of a sudden, I put on 20 pounds. All of a sudden, I couldn't fit 3X clothes no more. So I went to 4X, and I'm like, hold on. This might be getting out of control, but I'm still eating with no discipline. And then I'm traveling. So I'm on the road and you know, you debating whether or not when you're in the hotel, if I'm gonna hit the fitness center, and I'm like, man, I'm not doing that. Let me order some room service. Next thing I know, I get a checkup from the doctor. I go to the doctor for a checkup, and he's like, I get on the scale, I'm like 375. So I'm like, whoa. And he was like, whoa is right. I took your blood and you're walking a fine line and you walking a fine line of becoming a diabetic. And I was like, nah, I ain't going out like this. So I decided, this was like last week. I was originally going to start today, my diet, but I started on Saturday. I was like, you know what? I woke up. I was like, I got a boxing gym that's up the street that I'm real good friends with the guy who owned it. And I was like, you know what? I need to rent this gym out during this time. It's time for me to get my life under control. I got a wife and 4 kids to live for. So let me get on it. So I went on, I cut out sodas, I cut out sugars, carbs, and now I'm just on protein and vegetables all day, every day.
Wow. So you maybe felt as though, like, once the doctor sort of put your health in juxtaposition to even just being able to be dad and a healthy husband, like that's sort of what clicked for you.
Yes, for sure. Besides that, I kept having to go buy new suits. Like shit, I was like, damn, I couldn't even fit the suits that I have that when I was playing. And I was like, nah, it's time for a change. Like, but that in particular, like just thinking about me not being here for my family changed my whole thought process. And on like recent shows, I always kid around. Like I was kidding around, like on the jump, on the get up, on hoop strings. I was always saying, yeah, I'm living good. I put that retirement 65 on. I'm eating good right now, doing nothing but curl ups. And then all of a sudden it got serious. And I was like, hold on, I need to quit playing around. The doctor just told me that like my health is in danger. I need to get my life together, get my diet right. So I decided to, especially during this time, I'm like, this is the perfect time to start. That's the hardest part, Julie, is starting. It's starting. Not once you get started, after that it's good, but it's starting like 7 days in, like starting. So now I got time, I decided to take matters into my own hands.
Well, that's so good because, as you said, yes, it takes a lot of people to make that first step. It's very difficult. We got to go to break in a second, but what would be some 1 or 2 points of advice you would give someone who, during the quarantine right now, they're in their house, but they need to make a change? What would you tell them?
Well, right now I would just say, just critique yourself. Like this is a time that you could look yourself in the mirror and also like, to me, I've been looking in other areas just to find ways to better myself as a person. Like I'm catching myself reading more, something that I never really done in the past. I'm catching myself being more involved with my kids, with my family. But I mean, you could look yourself in the mirror and just fine tune things that you need to adjust. Like we don't have nothing to do, so why not adjust your flaws? And that's what I think we could do at this time. Adjust what's been bothering you that you never had a chance to address it right now and try to, nip it in the bud.
Yeah, that's great advice because we have some time now in weird circumstances, but maybe we can make the most of it in our personal time. All right, we've got a whole lot more to come with Kendrick Perkins on the NBA and how they're dealing with coronavirus and beyond. So stay tuned on Drinks with Binks. All right, guys, welcome on back to Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. We've got Kendrick Perkins. You know him, former NBA player, 2008 NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, ESPN broadcaster, and we are drinking some H2O because we're going to be healthy during the quarantine. Remember, think about your body, think about your mind, stay healthy during this time. And we talk about staying healthy, we talk about the NBA, and for the NBA, they have played a pivotal role in how our world has responded to this virus that has been spreading exponentially. When Rudy Gobert contracted the virus just a couple weeks ago, and then everything was shut down pretty quickly after that. Kendrick, I know It's hard to have perspective in this moment, but when all is said and done, what kind of impact or sort of, for lack of a better term, legacy will the NBA have in terms of dealing with this global pandemic?
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to give a lot of credit to Adam Silver. To me, and I'm not just saying this, we have the best commissioner in the world. He is he is unbelievable. All the players love him, and you have to me, and I've said this on Hoop Streams, Julie. A lot of people haven't gave the Oklahoma City Thunder medical staff the right props. Their props because Donnie Strack is the guy who's in charge of the medical staff. He's the guy actually right before the jump ball was about to be thrown up in the Utah and OKC game. He sprinted back from behind the bench and said, "Hold up, hold up, hold up! We got to stop the game." Gathered the refs together and they addressed it. Because just think about it. Donovan Mitchell tested positive for the coronavirus, right? Just think if they would have played that game, guys would have been in contact with him, been around him, or whatever. Not one single person for the Oklahoma City Thunder tested positive for the coronavirus. So you got to give kudos to them. But just the leadership standpoint from the NBA set the tone in general. Like with the NBA shutting down and suspending the season, then all of a sudden it was like setting the right example because all of a sudden now the NCAA shut down and hockey and spring baseball. So, I thought Adam Silver did a great job of being a leader and addressing the problem and saying, you know what, we're going to suspend the season and we're going to set the right example.
Yeah, they did. And because they took such a strong stance early on, probably could have saved, who knows, many people's lives. And then the fact that really every other league, once the NBA did that, every other league really felt responsibility to take the health and safety of their players and their fans into their own hands. And I know that you've spoken about this recently, but the idea that we've seen so many NBA players test positive for the virus, but also that are getting tests, but that regular people who are really ill haven't been able to get those tests. And there's been kind of a lot of debate on we know that NBA players have access to many things that a regular person wouldn't. That's just sort of how the chips fall with their job. But what do you think about, can you elaborate just on how do we sort of even things out a bit so that people do get the tests they need?
Well, I mean, I just think that it's unfair because I was raised by my grandparents. My grandpa died 6 years ago, God rest his soul. But my grandmother is 86 years old. She lives in Beaumont, Texas. That's 2 hours away from where I live. And she can't get a test right now. She's up in age, it could affect her. And when you just look around the world, to me, I wouldn't have a problem with NBA guys getting tested. I just have a problem with them reporting it. Just keep it under the radar because, out here in Houston, Texas, the tests are limited. If you go to the doctor, you might not be able to get a test, and this is a serious matter, and it's not fair because at this point in time, everyone should be treated equally. No one should be able to have access to a coronavirus test and the next person shouldn't just because you're not famous or you're not of a certain status when it's really people out here who really need it. It's elderly people, it's people with weak immune systems that really have respiratory problems that actually need these tests. And here it is, you have some of the best athletes in the world and NBA players who they're testing positive and not even showing symptoms. So all I'm saying is some kind of way that we could have kept it under the radar, but it's too late now. But now, to me it was just unfair, and I just felt like I had to speak on it. I know Woj probably wasn't too thrilled about that though.
Who has it, and then also in the same vein, when I know this isn't right, but when the celebrities have it and when big names have it, it puts more pressure on maybe the governments or the healthcare system to be able to then in turn provide people with better tests or better environments. So it's kind of an odd situation in that realm. You need to know that these people have it, right?
Right. No, I agree, and I think what Tom Hanks and his wife did, they broke the ice. I thought that was beautiful because what it made everybody realize was that no matter who you are, you're not too big for this virus. Like it could hit anywhere, it could touch home, because we live in a world today, like people think shit can't happen to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we live in a world today, like, nah, it ain't gonna happen to me. I won't catch it. Then all of a sudden, yeah, you got it. Or this can't happen to me. Like that's the world we live in. Like, man, I seen it on TV, but I know it won't happen over here. Nah, that's not it. So I do applaud, I do like the guys that have came forward on that part and said that they tested positive. But we still don't know who tested positive, the other two players for the Nets. We still don't know who tested positive for the Lakers. So some guys, I think, want to keep it a secret.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely, because you can see people being stigmatized for it as well. And I do want to find out a little bit more on this topic and just how players are feeling, how coaches are feeling about it, because, you know, and what they're doing during this time off. We know, you know, you're working out, you're getting healthy. I'm moving apparently this week. I'm super stressed about that. So everyone's trying to figure out how to do their daily lives. We'll have all that more coming up after this break on Drinks with Binks.
I'm Kurt Menefee. I had a drink with Binks.
Hey guys, welcome on back to Drinks with Binks. We are drinking and binking with a little H2O with Kendrick Perkins from ESPN. He's on Hoop Streams. You remember him being an NBA player as well as winning the 2008 NBA title with the Boston Celtics. And Perk, gotta ask you, speaking of players dealing with coronavirus, like what are guys doing? Like how are they staying in shape? How are they staying busy? Like what's their whole mindset around all this?
Well, one thing about like NBA players, right? First of all, we go crazy without being able to play the game of basketball. You got to understand, like, yes, it's a job, but we love the game of basketball. So, like, I've been seeing guys, I wouldn't be surprised right now if guys went back to old school and actually training in parks right now. Like, if you don't have a gym in your house, like, guys are training at the park. Because here's the thing. The hard thing about staying in basketball shape is that you could do whatever you want to do. I mean, you could run on a treadmill. You can go outside and run miles. You could get on the elliptical. You could do a workout or whatever the case may be. But nothing gets you in basketball shape like playing basketball. That's study says it. Like you have to play basketball in order to get in basketball shape. So right now, you got guys who, right now at this point in time, will be traveling, playing games. They have their daily routines and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, things change. Guys are at home more. Guys are more around their family. So, you know, maybe they're doing chores, helping the wife out or with the kids, whatever the case may be. But I guarantee you, 90% of the guys are working out 2 to 3 times a day just to trying to stay in shape, but really working. Wow. I know LeBron James works out 3 times a day minimum. I know that for a fact. So, you know, all these other guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not in their driveways, if they don't have gyms shooting basketball or finding a park or something like that. Because hoopers got to hoop. Like it's driving me crazy. And I'm part of the media that I can't watch basketball. Like I had to tweet that shit the other day. I was like, I would never take basketball for granted again. There's only so many episodes of America's Gangsters that I could watch in Chicago PD. I mean, I'm tired of watching. I need hoops in my life, some type of hoop.
I know a lot of people said they'd never take for granted a Cavs-Knicks game again after all of this or whatnot, right? But you mentioned, you know, these guys, they're hooping, they're playing, they're trying to keep in shape. And I was reading something the other day that, I mean, if there's no playoffs for the NBA, the revenue loss could be huge. I mean, you know, just throwing out a couple of numbers, just reportedly, you know, $40 million a team, maybe $1.2 billion for the entire league. I mean, we're all just trying to make sense of this every single day, but what do you predict happens? I know we're not infectious disease doctors or the government, but what do you think unfolds this year?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I'm staying optimistic about it. I think we get through these next 3 weeks. I think we find a solution to the problem. I think everyone is working hard right now. to try to find a solution. I think, you know, you agree or disagree with some of the things that goes on in our world today. That's just life. But I really do honestly feel like they're trying to find a solution. So we'll see after 3 weeks. But I know Adam Silver in the NBA, they're taking it one day at a time. And when I say one day at a time, like they're watching, they're in contact probably with Trump in office and whatever, and they're going to figure out a solution. One thing I know about the NBA, I'm going to tell you a story. It was my second year in the NBA in 2004, and I was living in Boston. We was going through a blizzard at the time, Julie, a blizzard. Like the airports was shut down. So we were supposed to fly to Denver on that Friday night and play Denver on the Nuggets on the Saturday in Denver, right? We couldn't fly out because the weather was too bad. So I'm like, well, maybe they're going to cancel or postpone the game. And so they was the guy who was in charge, he was like, hey, keep your phones on because we could be flying out at any time. As soon as we get a clear pathway, we out, right? So the blizzard was supposed to last for like 4 days. So we get a text at like 6 a.m, was like, look, it's going to clear up for about an hour. We're leaving at 9 a.m. sharp. And we left at 9 a.m. and flew on the game day to Denver and played the game, right? So when I got on the plane, I went up to the guy. I ain't going to throw him under the bus. And I asked him, I said, so what would have happened if we would have missed the game? He was like, we would have been fined $10 to $15 million. So, like, trust me, whoa. I know the NBA, and losing money is not what they believe in. So they're going to find a way, and they're working behind the scenes to make sure that basketball happens after we get through this crazy time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we all need it too, or else the Toronto Raptors are still just going to be champions. I'm a Toronto fan, so, I mean, they could just hold it
right.
That won't happen. All right, we got to take a quick time out. We'll be back with more with Kendrick Perkins on Drinks with Binks. Hey guys, welcome back to Drinks with Binks. We've been having a great time drinking and binking with Kendrick Perkins, former NBA player, current ESPN broadcaster. And Kendrick, you've been doing hoop streams with our girl Cassidy Hubbarth. We know you love her well. What's the best part about doing an ESPN digital show? We don't have a whole lot of time. Go.
Well, real quick, I mean, the best thing about it is that it's like it's the new wave, and like from what it was to what we made it to be now, like 1.6 million views, and it's just like shout out to the whole Hoop Streams team. So like Max, Cassidy, Amin, Haley, shout out to all of them, even the boss Mike Foss. Like it built up, like Hoop Streams went from like 200,000 views to 2 million views last year in the finals to now this year it's averaging 1.6 million views. And just shout out to ESPN to kind of being the first to do that digital thing. So shout out to them. And that's who I would love to get a shout out to, my Hoop Streams family.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been killing it, and you have been as well. So I'm going to give you this shot. Cheers. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time on Drinks with Binks. That was Kendrick Perkins, the man, myth, and legend. Water shots. This is what I need. So thank you.
Yeah.